In case you've been living under a rock lately, you likely know about the internet's plan to storm a famously locked off facility. No, we are not talking about the ICE detention centers, we are talking about Area 51. Yes, that is what the internet is demanding to find answers about, instead of, the horribly inhumane modern day concentration camps. Politics aside, my friends, in mocking celebration of this absurd news story, we're jumping into hypothetical land and imagining what those 50,000 something people, is that the number? God, I hope it's not more, hope to discover locked away in Area 51 with our list of the top 10 video game aliens we could encounter at Area 51. In other words, bandwagon time, friends. Considering most aliens in video games are either pleasant allies, villainous threats, or creatures who end up attacking you just cuz, we'll be steering away from civilized sentient extraterrestrial life forms on this list for the most part, and aiming for ones who seem like they could be captured and locked away in a secure facility that no regular old civilian has ever seen. So with that in mind, let's get to it. And at number 10, Xenomorphs. Alright, to be fair, Xenomorphs would be better suited for a list called Top 10 Movie Aliens we could encounter at Area 51. But bear with me here, people. We can't have a list on alien video games without having the aliens make an appearance. If Xenomorphs or something like them were to exist and were to be held in Area 51, there is a good chance that they would probably have found a way to murder a good chunk of the staff before someone figured out a safe way to detain them. The Alien franchise has produced almost 20 games over the years, starting with 1984's Atari 2600 title, where you could barely make out the alien figures as actual Xenomorphs. It was basically a ripoff of Pac-Man. But over the years, the Xenomorphs have gotten better and better, and scarier. With the exception of 2013's Aliens Colonial Marines, we do not talk about that one. To imagine something like them in real life, well, maybe people wouldn't want to storm Area 51 after all. You gon' get dead. They gon' kill you. Acid. Moving on to number 9, Barnacle from Half-Life. If aliens are being kept inside of Area 51, there definitely are not ones that are incredibly dangerous or capable sentient creatures with agency and biological abilities that surpass our own. Which, yes, kind of makes our last number void, but do not hate on the Alien franchise, people. That means that realistically, aliens likes of the Barnacle from Half-Life would be the kind that would be somewhat easily detained and held there for observation and study. Barnacles are carnivorous extraterrestrials who live under overhangs and have a long tongue capable of hanging several feet from its mouth. Whenever something accidentally runs into that tongue, they drag them upwards like an alien Venus flytrap of sorts. They'll eat whatever collides with their tongue, and their mouth takes up the majority of their body mass. But they do learn from their mistakes, and usually don't eat the same inedible object twice, which signifies that they do have some level of intelligence. Up next, number 8, Elvis from Perfect Dark. So this wouldn't be a list about Area 51 if we didn't include a stereotypical alien type that looks kind of like the alien in every single conspiracy theorist YouTube channel's thumbnails. This is Elvis, an alien character from the game The Perfect Dark, from a race called the Mayan. He is the exception on our list. He comes from a civilized race and even has a job, which in this case is protecting the Mayan ambassador who has come to Earth. He's also fascinated by our planet, and throughout the narrative of the game he tends to be comic relief, although he has proven to be very skilled when it comes to fighting and his job as a protector. I mean, come on, wouldn't you want to see little guys like him kicking around Area 51 just chilling? That's kind of what I'd hope would be there, instead of deathly aliens. Up next at number 7, Space Invaders. Okay, hear us out on this one. Sure, Space Invaders are these iconic pixelated little fellows trying to kill you in the video game series named after them. But imagine this, Space Invaders, but realistic. That is some scary ass shit. Space Invaders are usually seen as the OG video game aliens, first hitting the arcade scene in 1978 as a shooter title. Arcade games were the humble beginnings of aliens in video game titles, which mostly consisted of a you versus them, with you representing all of humanity. Regardless, the concept behind Space Invaders, a fleet of aliens coming to attack Earth with you defending it, could easily be adapted into any sort of alien invader narrative when it comes to aliens potentially captured in Area 51. And at number 6, Banshee from Mass Effect 3. I feel like from here on out, this list will slowly evolve into terrifying aliens we could imagine are locked up in Area 51. Starting with the Banshee from Mass Effect 3. Banshees are synthetic organic creatures who are mutated Asari created by Reaper technology. They are intelligent, and anyone they mate with will immediately die. They are incredibly durable and can spawn their own warp field during combat. They also let out a petrifying wail that has no specific physiological effect, but it is scary as hell. And worst of all, when they die, they implode, all as a means to evade capture. Personally, Banshees are yet another number on this list that I would be more than satisfied to know were not on Earth. Whatsoever. no bueno. And at 5, the Akrid from the Lost Planet series. A life form found on Eden 3 in the Lost Planet games, Akrid are reptilian-esque insectoids that thrive in the extreme cold. Their bodies produce thermal energy, keeping them from freezing in extreme temperatures that would normally kill humans or any other species. Now, some subspecies of the Akrid are capable of adapting and rapidly mutating in order to accommodate to ever-changing environmental conditions. All in all, despite being dangerous, the Akrid are the kind of extraterrestrial that humans would be very intrigued by, and might even contain in a secret facility to study and learn from. Moving on to number 4, Headcrabs from Half-Life. Headcrabs are unpleasant little fellas. From the Half-Life series, they're one of the most recognizable aliens in the games, and are parasitic, taking complete control over their host nervous system. Being the size of a pumpkin, it is easy to imagine extraterrestrials the likes of a headcrab hanging out in captivity in Area 51. Their size doesn't mean that they are any less dangerous though. Covered in smooth skin and walking on 4 short little stubby legs, they have the ability to jump or leap up to 10 feet in any direction, and have an underbelly that's covered almost entirely by a jawless mouth, containing a hidden beak that is used for feeding or latching onto a victim's skull. Unlike many of the other aliens on this list, headcrabs can be domesticated, as seen with Lamar in Half-Life, the name of Isaac Kleiner's pet headcrab. Lamar has had its beak removed, making it unable to break into a host's skull, which not only renders it harmless, but seemingly removes its parasitic instincts, placating the creatures altogether. And at number 3, the Metroids from Metroid. The Metroid species from the Metroid games are a broad collection of extraterrestrials that were exploited as bioweapons. From the planet SR-388, a batch of them were stolen from a Galactic Federation research vessel by space pirates, causing the species to spread across the universe, endangering life thanks to the species' need to consume life energy from other beings in order to stay alive. Turns out they are genetically engineered by the Chozo, with the name Metroid roughly translating into Ultimate Warrior in their language. They would eventually go extinct in Super Metroid, with their appearances in following games due to laboratories using the DNA of the last and now deceased Metroid. And to be quite frank, if Area 51 is as insidious as some would have us believe, detaining a species of aliens that could be used as a bioweapon would definitely fit the bill, and could very well be lurking behind the facility's closed-off walls. Moving on to number 2, the Typhoon from Prey. When we think of all the weird lifeforms that could be lurking in Area 51, we can't help but imagine extraterrestrials with strange and unique abilities. That's why the Typhoon from Prey make this list. Can you imagine the government studying something like this species and trying to use it for mankind's benefit? I mean, it's not a total long shot in terms of intentions. The Typhoon are hostile aliens that appear in the game Prey, and are formed from a shiny gray-black substance that appears to have characteristics of solids, liquids, and gases all at once. They change their structure and solidity with ease, even using appendages they create as weapons, and are highly durable. Each subspecies of Typhoon have different abilities. Some can mimic matter, others can phase, some can generate fire and electricity, and some can even make use of mind control. They do not have mirror neurons, meaning they are incapable of empathizing with the suffering of other creatures, and perhaps can't even recognize other living beings outside of their species. Now, to make matters worse, they can also spawn or replicate themselves, and are capable of detecting when other life forms are nearby, causing them to attack. Now imagine if something like that in real life existed and was being held at Area 51. No offense, but I really wouldn't want to attack the facility and let something like that out on the loose. How about we try to not get the entire human race killed off? Yeah, that sounds like a plan. And finally, in at number 1, the Necromorphs from Dead Space. By far one of the scariest entries on our list, the Necromorphs from Dead Space are exactly the kind of extraterrestrial creature that would need to be locked up in an airtight security facility the likes of Area 51. Once again, I reiterate, maybe let's not bust into a facility that may actually be protecting us from other dangerous life forms. Just a thought. Anywho, let's talk Necromorphs and why they are literal nightmare fuel. Appearing in the Dead Space series, Necromorphs are mutated and reanimated corpses, reshaped thanks to an alien infection that causes an organism to become extremely aggressive and violent, attacking any uninfected life form without mercy. Their goal is to spread the infection, aiming to convert more bodies, with them eventually combining into terrifying massive versions of Necromorphs when an ecosystem has been entirely killed off and infected. Yeah, I think I will pass on that. Ignorance is bliss, friends. Keep that in mind. Alright guys, there we have it. What do you think is locked away in Area 51? Is it aliens, or is it something entirely different? Someone, please make an indie game starring an alien inside of Area 51 who has to fight off hordes of idiotic humans who've broken into the facility. I would play that. Any of you friends, if you guys dug this video, spread the love, hit that like button, and while you're at it, if you haven't already, why not subscribe to Top 10 Gaming and hang out with us some more. We even have a nifty little playlist with other great gaming videos that you should definitely check out. It's floating somewhere on your screen. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.